How's everybody doing? This is Wolf and Soda, and today I'm going to do something a little bit different. Instead of my normal reviews of, say, an anime or a video game, I'm actually going to be doing a fanfiction. This story is a Last of Us fanfiction by Above the Clouds and Dreaming called Their Purpose, which explores the relationship between Ellie and Joel after the events of the Last of Us video game. It takes place right after Ellie is violated by David, and then it carries on to them traveling to Tommy's place, and then it carries on some more into its own fictional timeline that Above the Clouds and Dreaming has created. I'm pretty sure that this was one of the first fanfictions that Above the Clouds and Dreaming published, and when you make something publish-worthy, even if you have experience, it still looks raw. And that's exactly what happened with this one. The writing it's a first fanfiction writing, let me put it that way. It's not bad, but it's nowhere near the quality that Above the Clouds and Dreaming adopted over time. The entire series of Their Purpose is divided into 3 quite hefty, beefy fanfictions. The first one, it's standard first published fanfiction writing, and that's okay. In the second part, the narration deters a little bit, because Above the Cloud, the author has said that he was trying to make the presence of the narrator less so, in a way. This created a couple of lumps and bumps along the way, and I'm pretty sure that the author found that as he began writing with a more narrative perspective later on. The third, it was nowhere near perfect. There was still a lot to learn, but it was balanced, and the writing style was no longer distracting or didn't deter from my personal enjoyment. If I were reviewing a video game or an anime or something right now, I'd review the music. Well, guess what? This fanfiction actually has its own little soundtrack. Not for every chapter, but in a few of the chapters, the author actually wrote to music and then said, I would appreciate it if you listened to this song while you read this, because it really, let me tell you, it really adds something. The total of chapters that included any kind of music whatsoever was just a number of 5. It ingrains light, easy-sounding bands like the Indigo Girls, and with any experience, music adds. Music adds, smells add, and even though it seems unprofessional of any fanfiction writer or book writer to say, listen to this song while you read this chapter, it added more than it subtracted, and that was a good move. Now about the characters and character development over the entire series, the entire fanfiction is centered around Joel and Ellie, and the key development that went on between these two was the author explored their codependency. After all that's happened, they will have serious PTSD, and we all know this. But I never actually labeled it that they would be codependent on each other. But now that I think about it, that's true. All Joel has now is Ellie, and Joel is the only one that didn't leave or die on Ellie. Throughout the entire fanfiction, I do believe that all the characters were in character and written nicely. It can be a bit dialogue heavy at times, but it was a good read, and it was in character the entire time, which when reading fanfiction I find is the most important when I look for an extension to the media that ended and I'm not satisfied with. As for my personal enjoyment, I was all over the place every time I saw that a new chapter had been posted. The thing about fanfictions is we go to fanfiction when we're not satisfied with the ending of whatever series we had. It was put on eternal hiatus, or it had an unsatisfying ending, or even if it had a good ending, but the series was just too short, we always want more, and that's why we go to fanfiction. But whenever we get there, either there's not enough, or none of them are good. But this one fanfiction is the one that I found. I wanted to read it, and I wanted to stick with it the entire time because it was a kind of satisfying, completing element that I needed when I finished playing The Last of Us. And for that, I personally thank the author, if you're watching this. On to my final verdict, I give it an 8.14 out of 10. The pros include it has a satisfying ending and ingrained music. It explored the relationship between Joel and Ellie quite beautifully, and they were always in character. And it's so long! On the downside, the writing can be kind of inconsistent with the varying styles, and at times it can be better or worse respectively. This kind of depends on what kind of reader you are, but if that kind of thing distracts you, I can see if it can get a bit annoying. The only other thing I'd like to mention is the story might be a little bit too long. It really drags and gets slowed down at times, and it's very dialogue heavy at times, but I think that adds more than it takes away, because for most of these things, if it gets boring to you, there's enough filler and enough killer, respectively, that you can just read it and go for what you want. You can read this on fanfiction.net. I will leave a link in the description, and please like and subscribe to my channel if you'd like to see more reviews. If you're interested in seeing me review or discuss a certain topic, please leave me a comment in the comment section below, and please check out this fanfiction. It'll be worth it, especially for those of you who are into the last